groups or small groups, you set them up there. We'll walk you through it. I'm going to skip holding list for now. Retention tracker, when persons are baptized, they're automatically placed in a retention group so that you can follow up with them. Guest registry, evangelistic action plans. This is a processor for data, whether you are in a regular campaign or anything you want to do throughout the application. This is where you go to enter that information. We'll come to that. Prospect management, online response, online quiz, and of course, campaign statistics. So let me step back and start at the connection hub. How do you allow members of the church to participate in connecting people with the church experience so that nobody gets lost? Whether you're using Facebook or YouTube or any other digital platform, the guest registry allows you to have a link that I just quickly log in here again. The guest registry allows you to have a link that takes you to, and I'm going to take you to this page. You go in, you go to options, and you go to external integration. And
I'm not so sure that we are getting that far because the slide is not moving.
because of what?
The slide. You're having the same graphic on the
We're looking at Keynote. We're not looking at the app.
Oh, all right. I am going to stop sharing and I'm going to restart my sharing, focusing on the application. Thank you so much for that. So I'm out of Keynote.
If you would begin where we are showing them how to enter using the
Right.
I into the system right at the very beginning.
Great. So I'll start right there. All right. No problem. So let me start right here. Good. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So once you log into the application, this is where when you download the application and open it, you will have a login portal for your username and your password. In your case, for the temporary, you would put demo at user ID and mission at password. But I'm giving you the demo today from a different account. So I'm simply going to log in here and get going. So once you log in, this is what you will see, the home page. And this home page allows you to select your language. For now, English or Spanish. French will be added later on. And it gives you these 10 options. And I'm going to walk you through the main parts of it. I'd like to start again at guest registry. Because what we want to do is to make sure that whether someone walks into your evangelistic campaign at your church or is joining via online connectivity, you have the details of all those individuals who are registered. So in guest registry, the application allows you to register any number of guests and to tag them. For example, you may choose to tag your guest in your church according to who invited you or any other way that you choose to tag your guest and inform them. In this case, for example, we want to find out how many persons have been registered or invited by Joy. Joy is a member of my church. All I will do is go to filter by tag and I will enter Joy's name and I will submit, and the application will find everybody who is tagged to Joy so that I can call Joy and say I have these 8 persons who were invited by you and I would like for you to participate in reaching out to them for Christ or whatever it is. So you have those options right within the registration. Also, I was telling you earlier on that the registry allows you to integrate with various digital platforms in order to capture guest details and engage them. This is where you go. You go to the guest registry, you go to options, you go to external integration. This is the link that you copy, and this is your individual church ID that separates you, your church, from another church. And that's very important. So you give the link and the ID. And this is what happens. Once a person um, enters a link, they will be taken to this guest registration form, and all the person will have to do is put in your church ID and submit. And then the person will be able to register himself or herself and put in an email address, whatever it is, put in a telephone number, and whatever it is, and tag um, good, and submit. This form,
Pastor, just before, because I want to be sure that folks are getting it.
sure.
You're asking that you go back and repeat the login process.
Okay, good. So what I will have to do is I will close this form and I will open a new one just to make sure that I have you all connected. Okay, great. So
Uh,
here
hold
is how it works.
hold on, Pastor. We're going to, it's clear to me that we will need to have another meeting on that. I want us to take it very slowly based on the questions that I'm seeing in the chat and what
Okay,
I'm getting.
no
Let's
problem.
go right back to the beginning. Once they download the software, what they see, and then proceed to the login.
Okay, so let's see if we can do that then. Thank you for that. No problem. We're here to support you through the process. Great. So once the software is downloaded from the App Store or the Google Play Store, this is what you see when you launch the application. User ID, which will be sent to you via the email that you use to register your church. You will receive the user ID and the password. For today's meeting, we have given you a temporary user ID, which is demo, DEMO, lowercase, and the password is mission, lowercase. So you enter the password, the ID, and you enter the password, and you log in. But I am using a different account, so I am just going to log in automatically here. Great. Once you log in, you will be taken to this home page.
Right. So
On,
let's do something here. On the
sure.
home page, you have account manager. Explain that.
Yes. Okay. All right. So let's start with that then. So at account manager, this allows you to set up other users and to set up small groups or Bible working groups within your local church. Account manager, you add, for example, you want another administrator. You can add 3 or you can add 7, depending on which of the groups you have. We'll talk about that later, but let's go to the process. So you're adding an admin to the group. You simply select admin and the name of the admin, and you enter an email or a placeholder, it doesn't matter, and you add Roy as an admin.
So before you move from that,
Yes,
we're saying now that this number one administrator is the pastor. So the pastor's name is there. The pastor's email address is there. So we're going to
so
also
so Go ahead.
Right. You have that's admin number one. Admin number two is going to be a church elder who is the coordinator of the program. So we'll put the church elder as as secondly, church elder's name, email address there.
Right.
Admin number three is going to be your personal ministries leader. So you put the personal ministries leader's name, email address, and admin number four is going to be your communication person, someone who is able to understand the technology and help the people. Maybe your church communication secretary or somebody else in the church. But these are the persons that would be the administrators that would be listed there in number one.
Great. Accepting that to add, the pastor's credentials will be automatically sent to you via the email that you will get. So you don't need to add the pastor because that's the original signed up credentials that will come into your email. So only as you add other admins that you will need to do this. But once you get the email, that means the pastor's credentials would have been set up already, and all he would need to do is to log in. So you're adding other admins. You come here and you do so.
Right.
Great.
But it's also clarified that that is if the pastor was the one whose under whose email it was registered. Because it might have
Right.
been registered by an elder or somebody else.
Right. And that's a good point. So the original email was sent, the original credentials was sent to the email on which the church was registered. Then you can add other administrators.
Okay.
Great.
Next.
Any other question on that? I want to
Uh,
make sure we're clear.
he did mention that for users account. Um, it's not for users accounts. It is one account, but you have four administrators administering the account, like you have one conference with three administrators, a president, a secretary, and a treasurer. In this case, you have one account. It is the church's account, but the administrators on the account are the president, the one elder, the
Right,
personal
right.
leader, and your data man.
You have it clear, Ella. Thank you. So that's essentially how you add an admin. Now you can add Bible worker teams or small groups. And to do that, what you do is let's go to manage team credentials. So here I would like to set up a new Bible worker team. So on this account, I have 8 Bible worker teams or small groups that I can set up. So it's easy. I want to set up Bible worker team number 3, and I want to use a username bless, and I want the password to be goodness. So I set up this Bible worker team. Now, all I'm going to do now is add this team so that everybody on that Bible worker team will be able to log in and see the names that I post to them. So now this is not an admin. This is a Bible worker team called user. And John and the email, whatever it is. And this is team 3. And there I go. Bible worker team number 3 set up, done. Bible worker can log in and get going with all the people that have been assigned to the team. So that's as easy as it is, and it's all done. So I will leave account now. Those are the essentials. And I will go to the guest registry, go back here. Are there any further questions on the account?
Yeah, let me answer a question here.
Sure.
The account is to the church,
Yes, sir.
not pastor, because
Right.
individuals are asking what happens when the pastor leaves the church. The
Correct.
pastor is not registered, it is the church that is registered. Okay.
Great. So
Okay.
when the new pastor comes, all he needs to have is a login, and he will pick up from where the outgoing pastor left off. So there's continuity. Great. All right, good.
So
So,
now we're moving on to the next tab.
right, guest registry. And here in the guest registry, I was telling you that we can have a link that all the members of the church can utilize to send to their friends to register for Bible study, to register for an upcoming campaign, to register for anything. They can send it via WhatsApp, they can send it via Facebook, they can send it on just about any digital platform that allows for the sharing of a link. So you can give this link and the ID to any member of the church, and they can send to their friends. And once their friends are registered, see, I registered John a moment ago, and here John is in the guest registry. And it's as easy as that. You will not lose anybody, whether your church members are using WhatsApp or whatever group. Everything will come back into a centralized database automatically. And that makes it great to have a good sense of how many people you are connecting to via the membership involvement in your local church. And of course, I just show you this quick one. You can add a name very easily right within the application. You don't need to use a link. If you are the administrator and you want to register someone on spot, you can do so. So we register Greg. It will tell you whether or not there's a Greg in the system, and it will bring Greg up if he's in the system. And what the application will do is let you know that there's a Greg already in your registration database with a telephone number, with such email address, that. And even this Greg completed on Herbert Fletcher University. If this is the same Greg, you don't need to do anything else but yes, proceed, and it will re-register Greg on a new date. If you already have Greg and you don't need to register him again for any new event, you simply say no and you move on. So the system tries to make it as easy for you as it is possible. So I thought I would share that with you. Great. So now that you have registered persons and you have hundreds of people on your database, the question is, how are you going to follow up with these individuals? You can post them, each name and contact, to a prospect care team, which is a Bible worker team or a small group. And I'm going to show you how you do that in a moment. When you post the individuals to the prospect team, when you open the application and go to prospect, you will have the names of the persons, you will have their contacts, their baptismal status, and whether they have signed up for baptism or not. Now the question is, if you want to see all the data you have on any person, you can do so at the touch of a button. You go to focus view and you hit focus view, and what focus view does is bring up all the data you have. So the date when this person was assigned, the name of the person, telephone, not baptized, but signed for baptism, the person's decision, he wants literature, etc., etc., etc. They want to meet each Thursday at 7 p.m. online, and the person wants to know more about prophecy. So in one touch, you can see everything regarding a prospect that you are relating to, and you'll be able to, in an efficient way, reach out to that prospect. Now, I'd like to show you also that at every stage of the game, or of the process rather, the pastor or evangelist can see how many persons have been signed for baptism by your small groups or by your Bible working teams. It's as easy as that. Once you log in, go to prospects, you'll be able to tell on any day, at any time, how many individuals have been marked ready for baptism, even without calling a meeting. And it happens in real time. Once a Bible worker selects sign for baptism, it comes right into the pastor's hand, and you are able to see what is happening. So let me give you the options we have here. You can check the name, telephone, address. You can mark as priority if you are getting somewhere with this prospect. You can filter by teams to see how each team is doing. You can look at the decisions that the prospect made, decided to be recommitted to Christ. You can write on your cell phone or your tablet. You can look at other details about the prospect. You can check out the appointments that they have with the prospect, 2 p.m. online each Wednesday via Facebook. You are able to check on all kinds of important details regarding each prospect, so no one is left behind. You're also able to check what are the names of the prospects who have signed up for baptism. So Tracy, in this case, is the only prospect who signed for baptism and is not yet baptized. So you can focus on Tracy. You can also reassign prospects from one Bible worker team or one small group to another. So Tracy, for example, is not doing well in her assigned small group. You can ask if Tracy would like to join another group and simply reassign Tracy to maybe a group that is more fitting to Tracy's needs. You select the group and you reassign, and that's it. The group will have Tracy immediately with all her details to follow up and to make sure Tracy is supported in her decision. You can mark as baptized, mark as signed, etc. So all of this is within the pastor's hand. And one last thing from here, since we are rushing against time, team statistics. You as a pastor or evangelist can evaluate how each team is doing. So for example, you can check your team 1 to say team 1 has 2 prospects, 1 is signed, and one has already marked for baptism, and 1 has signed for baptism. So you will know how each Bible working team or each small group is doing right at your fingertip from your digital device. You can also know how many on the list have been marked as priority. So it gives you an unbounded set of engagement with your evangelism, no matter where you are in the world, once you have internet connections. So that's fine. And you can check out each team to see how each team is doing, and you can assign people accordingly. So let me just pause to see if there are any questions on the prospect management part of it before we go to the online response, because that's very critical.
Let's find out here. Is there a manual that people can utilize in order to work themselves through?
Sure. And that's a great question. So let me take you to home. What we're doing right now is upgrading the user guide. So when you log in, you can go to the user guide to see a step-by-step process as to what to do. We're currently upgrading that, but it's already there that you can utilize it to see how to navigate. But the good thing is, once you get a handle of it in a couple of usages, it's like a breeze. Right. So let me give you a quick sense of the online response before we are out of time. Here for online responses, we are able to set up a decision card or form without the need of any technicians to help us. We can tailor each decision form to meet the needs of each presentation you're doing. So you can ask questions, and so this is your template for your decision form right now, and you can always change that. And you send this link and this ID to anyone. you're on Facebook, you're on any platform delivering, and all the persons will do is click on the link, and this is what happens. Let me make sure I find that one for you. Yes, response link. So you click on the link, it takes you to this page, and you enter the ID, and here you go. The person is able to enter the name and to select, I was blessed by the service. I would like to join an online church group, whatever it is. Please contact me here, contact me by email, etc., etc. I have a question. Tell me more about the mark of the beast, and submit. And this comes right into the pastor's hand immediately without any need of technical support. You can go to the application and you are able to see the response that was just sent by Oliver. I was blessed by this worship service. I would like to join an online church group. Tell me more about the mark of the beast. So it's as simple as that. And you can have all the online responders in your hand on your digital. But here's an exciting part that I want you to know. You don't even need to send a link. You are preaching on online, or you're preaching on radio, whatever you're doing, you can simply direct someone to go to your browser, any web-enabled browser. You don't need to, and all you will do in your web-enabled browser is to enter the online. Give me a moment, please. Let me move this interface. Great. So all the person will do, go to the browser and type, you just direct the person, and here you go. The person just type this in, and bam, that's it. The person is able to respond to you, and you receive the response immediately. So this is great if someone doesn't have opportunity to click on a link. You can just direct the person. Go to Chrome, go to this, go to Safari, go to whatever browser, Opera, whatever it is, Mini, and just put this in, put your number in, respond, and it comes to the pastor or evangelist immediately. No hassle, no problems, no need for even technical support. It's all within at your fingertip.
You need
So
to bring us back to that page. We're only seeing Google.
which one you want to go to?
Uh,
Good? Great. Great. So there it is. You will view all your received responses, and it's as easy as that. If there are no questions on this,
yeah,
I will.
here's
Go ahead. Yes.
a small group leader sitting in his
Yes.
and or a Bible worker or a pastor or a church elder.
Yes.
And here's a good sermon being preached on television.
Yes.
Calls an individual and says to the person, listen to this sermon.
Right.
The person listens to the sermon. And that small group leader or that pastor wants a response from that individual about the sermon. You're saying the person will only need to send that link to the individual. The individual will respond, and that response comes right into your full start pad that you're able to relate to, follow up with the individual, or share that information with the relevant small group Bible working in the church.
Absolutely. But even better than that, Elder Braham, you don't even need to send a link to the individual. Someone is watching television, you can post the instruction online. Somebody is listening to the radio broadcast where you don't have an opportunity to send a link. All you do is give the instruction, and the person will go on their phones, go on their tablets, go on their computer, or any internet-enabled device. You enter the instruction, and the person will simply do that, and it takes the person to the link, and it's ID submitted, and that's it. So even without sending a link, you can perfectly engage people on television, on radio, online, any platform, and it comes right to the church's account immediately. So
Okay.
that's a great way to reach people, even in an unlinked way. Great.
Another question. Is there a video
Sure.
anywhere that is available that can demonstrate this to individuals?
Sure. And we have a tutorial video, and that is available. Telegram, we had sent that one. We'll send it again so you can distribute it. It's available now in English, and we're getting it ready for Spanish and French as well. But yes, so there is a tutorial video for that. Any other question on this? If no, I will just quickly show you the card process and the quiz, since we are pressing for time. So,
We
for
want,
example,
we want to wrap up in 10 minutes.
no problem. I'll use the 10 minutes. So let me go to online quiz. So quickly, you're having an online quiz. You're having a campaign or a pre-campaign event where you're having Bible trivia, and you have a small group, a Facebook group going, where you're posting questions and they can take the quiz, leading up and building up to your campaign, just to get people reading the Bible and being engaged in Bible conversation. Or the campaign, you may want to use a quiz to help persons or to challenge persons to listen and to reward them. The traditional quiz. But what we did was to include this quiz that allows you to do all of that online. So within the quiz area, you set the questions, and you decide true or false. You post the answers, and you submit the quiz. That's what you do. This is your quiz. The link is sent to the individuals and your church ID, of course. And what happens is that the individuals, when they press the link, it will take them to this login page. And here's how it goes. When you log in, enter your name and your telephone, for example, and you answer the quiz, true or false. I'm just going to enter all true here. So I am a bad student. I'm guessing the answers all true. So, and then I'm going to submit. And it marks a quiz and tells you that you have correctly answered 3 questions out of 5, gives you your score. And also, what it does is that it allows you, the pastor or the evangelist, to go back into the application and view submitted answers. So each night, see Howard, his telephone number, he scored 3 out of 5, 60%. And it can also rank in the highest order, etc., etc., etc. So no need to carry quiz papers home anymore and to mark and bring them back. People can have their results immediately online and know how well they have done. And that's all automated. No need for technicians to help you. You're putting the power in the hands of the evangelists, the pastors, of course, with the support of their team, if that is necessary. So that's it for online quiz. Now let's go to the card processor. This is the workhorse of the software. You can enter manually the telephone number of prospects, for example, and their name, and whatever it is, other details. They are requesting Bible study, and want to surrender to Jesus. Good. And I have suspect data. I want to assign team number 2. So I select team number 2 because they know Grant and somebody on that team has a connection with him. Good. And that's it. It's done. It's sent to team number 2 immediately. The Bible workers or small groups for team number 2 will have that data on their mobile device immediately, and they can follow up with Grant. And just to demonstrate that, I'm going to filter by team. Now I'm an admin, so I have all the details, but the team will only have the data sent to them. So here team number 2 has Grant immediately. And of course, you can see what information you have on Grant, that he wants to surrender to Jesus, that, etc. So all of this happens in real time. No need to call a meeting. You can just be sending data all through the day. Your Bible workers can responding online, and it just happens. So we're putting this tool by God's grace, as the division leader said to you, into your hands so that you can be far more efficient and effective with your digital evangelism and of course other forms of evangelism. So the last thing I'll say before just two. One, evangelistic action plans. You can also plan your evangelistic roadmap right on in the application. Your training sessions, your meeting times, you can outline the strategy you're going to use. You can set objectives for all your evangelistic activities. You can mark things done. You can mark things not yet done, partially done. You can outline your strategies to reach people for Jesus and share that with your team. You can update that, and everybody gets updated at the same time. So there's no need for different versions of the plan. And this is great for the entire church, because what you can do is share a link with the members of your church. That's all they need, with their ID, and every member of the church can follow your evangelistic roadmap. And if you change anything, they will be able to see the updated roadmap as well. And of course, you tick things off, so you don't just have plans, you are actually executing your plans and doing something for the Lord. And finally, we want to show you the campaign statistics. So if you're having a campaign and you're registering your people who come night after night, you're able to tell, for example, we're going to audience statistics to see what kind of audience response you're getting. So I want to check something, and this is fascinating. So I go to the 26th of the 4th, and I want to see what happens between that date and the 5th of the 5th. So here's what I'm going to do. And I want to find out something. Here's what I want to find out. I want to find out how many of my attendees are coming back more than once, or how many are coming one time and not returning. And this is great, because what it does, it gives you an idea if you have a lot of one-time visitors or you have repeat visitors, which is an indicator that your evangelistic effort is generating interest. When you find large numbers of persons coming only once, it means that you have a problem. It means that there is something lacking to bring people back. So you can respond to that before the campaign is over. Usually what we do is, when the campaign is done, we do a post-mortem and we ask what went wrong. What we want to do is put some tools in your hands so that before the campaign is over, you can have an indication as to what kind of interest is being sustained by repeated attendance, and you can take actions and try to fix that before it is too late. So I give you a quick Cayman experience. When we were having Lord Transform Me last year, one of our sites saw that the repeat attendance was pretty low. People were coming, but most of them were one-time attendees. So what we recognized that we had to change our strategy. Not only did we have to invite people, but we had to go back to the people who were previously invited and try to get them coming back time and time again, because that was a weakness that the system showed us, and we were able to be successful. In a Spanish campaign, what we found was the opposite. We found that there was over 80% repeated attendance in the campaign, which was also a red flag to us, because what it told us was that your audience was stagnating. You were having the same people coming back, but you were not attracting enough new people so that you could get stuck with the decisions of your settled audience. And we were able to say, how do we fix this? Our emphasis was on going to find new people so that there was a nice mix between repeat attendance and first-time attendants who hopefully would also become repeat attendees. So all of this we're trying to put in your hands, because technology doesn't win souls. But what it does is that it can give you insights as to strengths and weaknesses in your evangelism system so that you are able to respond to that and try to fix them before too late. As we close, the great news is that this application engages from registration, it engages to response during the campaign, it engages to quizzes, and it engages through prospect management, either through a small group or through Bible study groups. Now, when persons have been baptized, and I'm going to close on this. So James rather, who signed up for baptism, was in fact baptized. That's not the end of our engagement with James. We automatically move James now to what is called the retention list. So here, if you go to the retention list, you will find James's name so that you can track what is happening with James and follow up using these various options. We don't have time to go into right now, so that James is shepherded in his growth with the Lord. So the software is built by God's grace. We're so happy for that. To engage you from the start and to support you as a prospect to every stage, even to baptism and then to retention. One tool in your hands, accessible on your mobile device from anywhere that you have internet connection. You are able to manage your whole evangelistic process, the key hubs in the evangelism system. And that puts a lot of power and opportunity in your hands to maximize your evangelism process. Thank you so much for your time. And Dr. Braham, over to you, sir. I'll answer any further questions.
Sure. Thank you, Pastor Jeff, for the presentation. Excellent tool. I want to I want to thank all of you for participating. I noticed that there are more questions that we have been able to answer, and we have to consider this as an overview meeting for an overview of the software, and we're gonna have to determine when we come back and take it. Again, responding to questions, we are hoping to have this software ready in French by mid-July. Yes, you will be able to, there's a user guide that's there that you can utilize to take the program. Pastor Jeff, if you will stop sharing your screen and then make one demonstration of something here. In terms of the cost per church, as a question came in, the division is providing this as an evangelistic resource to your church. It is not a cost to your church today. What do we hope to do? Take what is happening now. There is an opening that is taking place with churches, but you'll notice that there is also stipulation about the number of persons who are able to congregate. In that regard, it is going to be maybe for